your weekly breakfast of insights, tips and tricks, and general information that will help anyone trying to move things forward in this digital world of accounting. I'm your host, Ryan Pearcey from Digital Disruptors, and I have the pleasure of being joined by Guy Burton, a technical solutions consultant, if I got that right. I know we talked about 20
Very
times
good.
so far,
Very
Guy.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, professional you are.
Yeah, thanks. For Iplicit, we're going to be talking about the recently announced integration between Iplicit and Cin7. If you don't know what either of these solutions are, Iplicit is basically a mid-tier finance solution. So anyone that's trying to move away from those traditional legacy systems or outgrowing the small business finance systems. And then Cin7, a leading inventory management solution in this space. But I could try and, summarize what's going on with this, but it's going to be much better and easier if I hand this over to Guy. So what does this mean? What is this integration that's been announced?
So it's a if you read our press release, it's a strategic partnership, which is from our point of view, it's really exciting. So we've announced this partnership with Cin7, and that will mean for our customers and prospective customers in the future as well, that we are now at the moment building live integration between Cin7, which is a world global leading inventory management system, with Iplicit, which is obviously our baby, and we want it to be the best finance system in the world. And getting those two systems to talk to each other out of the box, we manage all of that integration on behalf of our customers. So there's nothing for them to do, sort of plug and play type thing. So it's really exciting.
Cool. And
I can't wait to get my hands on it.
Well, yeah, and you said you're building it, right? So you've announced that the
Yeah.
partnership, but it's going to take a little while to build. So when do you expect people can get their hands on it and have a bit of a play?
So we announced partnership, I think it was last month, and we are spending the summer, the teams at Iplicit, our engineering teams and product teams, and the teams at Cin7, and we're building the connectors. We're working with some early adopters at the moment over the summer, making sure that everything is working correctly. And then we're due to, I think we'll do the official, you can get your hands on it launch in September is the timetable at the moment. So yeah, so
That's good. And
exciting.
what's an integration, when everyone says, oh, we integrate. So, oh, great, we'll be able to share all data, but that's never the case. It's always limited. Like there's specific things you integrate. So what are the connections? What data is going to be shared in what way?
So Cin7 is going to manage everything to do with your stock in your inventory. So it will manage all of your purchase order processing, your stock requirements, your customers, your orders, etc., etc. Are still going to continue within Cin7, but then when we get to a completed invoice or either purchase invoice, sales invoice, your stock levels, your adjustments, your products, all of that information is going to go over Cin7's APIs, talking to our APIs, and then just create all the transactions in Iplicit, so that then Iplicit can do what we do best, which is give you good analysis of your data, manage your sales ledgers, manage your purchase ledgers, do credit control, all that good stuff as well. So without anyone having to key in anything in two different systems.
Yeah, and I guess that's the perfect flow, right? All operational operations management happens in one system, and then when you're normally doing that traditional handover to the finance team, that's when the data's moving across into Iplicit. And my understanding is that because of the way the data will feed in, you can still use some of the advanced features of Iplicit. We were talking about approval workflows earlier. So
totally, because we're just going to consume. We're just going to consume the transactions as they come through, and then again, because we've got nice flexible workflows, it means that if you do want certain sorts of transactions, or if you want all of those transactions to go through some sort of approval acknowledgement process with inside Iplicit, you've still got that control and that flexibility. Or you could say, actually, that all happens in Cin7, and we're just going to suck in that data and just process it in the normal way. So again, we're trying to give choices in there as well.
Yeah, and I think that most people are going to probably, on an operational side, day to day, especially around the inventory management, will live in Cin7. So they'll want the approvals in Cin7. That's the app they're going to be accessing, and they don't necessarily need to access Iplicit. But the head of finance or the CEO that only really interacts with Iplicit at the top level, that makes sense to kind of pivot that workflow then through the Iplicit system.
And it also means, and I think that's probably why Cin7 might have chosen us as well, because it was a choice on both parties, is that because Iplicit's got that rich analysis, because we've got that unlimited dimensional analysis, custom fields we can hold against transactions, that type of thing, it means that then we can consume a lot of that analysis, so that then from an operations stroke finance point of view, they're more aligned with each other. They're not limited by, to a couple of tracking categories, or we're running out of analysis, so I can't get that good analysis and have a good conversation with our ops director and talk about the same things that could be in, I can slice and dice out of the finance system. So that's what I think that's what we're getting really excited about.
Yeah, because because you're sharing the product across, you can then allocate that product to
Yeah.
different analysis codes inside Iplicit. So even if you're limited in Cin7, so as you say, you can only slice it in one or two ways. When it comes across to Iplicit, automatically with no manual intervention, it can be allocated to 20, 50 codes if you really want to.
If you've got nothing better to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How granular do we need to go?
Yeah. How much life have you got? But yeah, but that is, and especially because for both of us, we're, our customer bases are growing organizations. And as your organizations evolve, we want to be able to, we want different analysis or more analysis in 2 or 3 years time than we do today. So having that scope and capacity also helps future proof, so from an operational side of things, I can grow, because Cin7's got such a rich tapestry of areas and features that it deals with from a ops point of view. But then, if you add more companies into your organization, Iplicit can suck those up if we add more dimensional analysis, that type of thing. So it seems, hopefully, a perfect partnership.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very powerful. So essentially all operations to the point of purchase or sales invoice inside Cin7 flows across into Iplicit, and then you're doing the, as you say, receipt. Actually, that's one thing I was a bit unsure of. Say that a customer, they've got the invoice in Cin7 and then it gets receipted in Iplicit. Does the information flow back? Is that something that you're exploring or considered?
I think the receipting, so when we receipt the data in Iplicit through our cash book or whatever, I believe that we can send that data back into Cin7 if they need it. But I don't necessarily think that, because we're going to act as a sales ledger anyway. So whether or not you want that information, but I think we're looking at, you can put things on hold, customer on hold in Iplicit, and I'll put the customer on hold in Cin7, that type of thing. So it's not just sucking in data, because both our APIs can go both ways. So we're just trying to, again, we're going to take feedback from our customers as we go through the development process. This is just the first step in this water as well. So as we get more ideas, that's where we get most of our ideas for enhancements and how to make the software better. Is getting those suggestions and think, wouldn't it be good if it did that? And we think, oh yeah, why didn't we think of that? So we just take credit for it afterwards.
Yes, that's the way they go. As the person that's managing the community channel is the best idea generator in the entire business.
Totally. Look at all the great, where did you think that up?
And I think that's the beauty of it. You've always said, Iplicit, that you are like customer led, right? You want to build out some a tool that works for them, and you always take on the feedback and
totally
changes. And that can be quite refreshing in an area where actually a lot of systems feel that they're kind of shut out their customer base to a large extent, and go off and pivot and maybe make acquisitions that people don't really fully understand. Jordan Owens Reader has said he's digging the One Punch Man t-shirt. So he's loving the brand already, Guy.
It is my favourite anime.
Yeah, I feel very generic at the moment, just with my branded one.
I was going to put my Iplicit t-shirt on, but I thought, it's fine. And the disruptors, they'll appreciate this more.
It's very cool. It's very cool. So, I mean, let's talk a little bit about how this benefits not just your customer bank, but potential customers, right? So, Iplicit mid-market finance system, incredible analytics you can do, really easy to kind of move around data, very in-depth, like I guess in granularity and how you work products, etc. But from an integration point of view, you're still relatively new, right? Because it's a pretty new system. You've only got certain tools to integrate with, and a lot of the time it is customers that have been building those integrations themselves. This one you're taking control of. So is this, do you think, the first in a foray of integrations you start to build out and control?
Yeah, I think 100%. So up until more recently, we've got some integrations with other partners like Lightyear and things like that we've built over the time. But the vast majority of our customers, up until more recent times of they might have chosen Iplicit because we've got a rich set of APIs and they've got operational CRM systems or whatever it needs to integrate with. But they've tended to build those integrations, manage that integration themselves, which isn't, which is a great position to be in, but it's not necessarily something that every customer can do. Every customer's got that resources, that technical expertise, that type of thing, or even the time sometimes. So to start off with, we've built out and continuing to build out a rich partner network of specialists and experts across the country, across industries and sectors that can do sort of that work. But also we're cognizant of, we want to build Iplicit into the best of breed finance system that can then sit happily alongside the best of breed CRM system, the best of breed inventory system, the best of breed, whatever it might be. And then for us to manage that connection, so it is more out of the box. So it comes, it's more along the lines of sort of the Zero app stores and stuff like that. So it's just, plug and play type thing. So, and that'll take all of that. We manage all of that.
Yeah, exactly. You've taken control of it, right? You've taken ownership for it. And although Iplicit has inventory and you can do inventory management, you've got to emulate what Cin7 does. You'd have to build so many integrations into so many other systems, right? Because they connect into loads of e-commerce stores, 3PL, like logistics, haulage, so many different ways that they've got their own ecosystem realistically. So just by tapping into them, you're kind of expanding by the nth degree, like everything else that you can connect with and run.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why we chose Cin7, because we always knew we've got a basic stock system in Iplicit, which was fine for a certain section of customers, and they're really happy using it and things like that. But we were getting, and a lot of our sort of background is Sage 200 and Exchequer and those sort of legacy stuff as well. So we got customers or prospective customers saying who wanted Iplicit but said, "Oh, we can't use your stock." So, and then it was, well, you go off and find yourself a nice stock system and then you can talk to us and then you'll have to write that integration. But we wanted to be able to take that, the scope of what something like Cin7 can do, and then have that consume data, have Iplicit consume that information, so you get the best of both worlds. And that's we see that as in the mid-market, especially in the UK, but around the world as well. There's the big underserving of that SME sector, especially around inventory management and stock management. They're on legacy systems. They're on stuff that I'm still using Sage 50 because I've got this stock thing and this add-on that Colin wrote in 1987 that we know that if anyone hoovers near that computer, all of the operations side of things stop working, but we don't touch it. So, so we wanted to,
it gets very niche, doesn't it? There's like, we're tied in because there's a specific requirement. And I think part of working in businesses now is that you have to understand how critical is that to us. Can we adapt? Because we have to modernize. Like, obviously, our entire operations are built around working through a certain process. But whenever you change system, you should always consider, should our processes change? And by connecting, I guess, into Cin7, yes, you've got inventory. You could do things on your own, but that may cause a huge change in the way they operate. Now, maybe pivoting to working with Cin7 and Iplicit means they don't necessarily need to change as much, or they can open their not eyes, that's not the right term, but it opens them up to far greater levels of automation and a fundamental shift in the way they actually deliver their service.
And that's it. And we know from speaking to people, from speaking to our partners, speaking to customers and prospects, there's so much pressure, and especially on those types, your distribution, your inventory systems, margins are so tight. There's thanks to Amazon, everyone's got this expectation of next day deliveries or even today's deliveries. It's not, you can't wait 4 weeks now for 28 days to get that thing that you just ordered. Margins are getting tighter. So having something in the cloud that's connected to all of my different systems, which Cin7 can do beautifully, means that people have got that scope. And because of their rich sort of app and integration partnerships that they've got with, I think they've got like 700 odd different integrations out of the box. You've got all of that sort of rich tapestry of information to get the operations side of things working as smoothly and as efficiently as you can, without having to throw people at it and processes and things like that. So yeah, there's going to be change, but people are demanding that change because of the pressures that they've got from them, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And so you said that obviously, this is a partnership. It's both parties coming together, but I assume there was a thought process that you went through. Did you scope out the
Oh yeah.
market potential inventory systems, or was it more the clients going, actually we like Cin7, we would like you to explore Cin7? Well, how did how did you end up at this partnership stage?
It's quite easy. So we've been looking probably for the best part of 18 months, I reckon, and we identified in the UK there's a whole underserved SME sector in that mid market that are on those legacy systems, especially, or that needed addressing. We knew that if we wanted to to change our Iplicit stock to that level, that's just going to take us too long. We needed something quicker and faster, and something more efficient and probably proven as much as anything. So we scoped out. We probably ended up looking at 20, 25 different systems across the board, from things you'd never heard of to industry standard, household name type things. And we just kept on coming back to Cin7. They have had such a similar journey to us, but in terms of inventory as opposed to finance, like Iplicit, they identified a gap in the market. They wanted to introduce efficiencies. They wanted to go cloud first, that type of thing. So everything just got come to coming. We're looking at things. So that was great. Well, it's not as good as that one. Still did it better and things like that. So, and then Paul Sparks and our Chief Product Officer, Lyndon, our CEO, they met with the Cin7 team, and there was such synergies between how the two organisations have grown. I think, being open, I think Cin7 are probably 2 or 3 years further down that trajectory than what we are. But it was just that alignment that just seemed, actually, why haven't we done this earlier? Sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was, but yeah, it's here now, and we're really excited.
Yeah, and I guess you talk about being 2, 3 years further down. They've been around longer, so that makes sense that they would be further down that journey. So yeah, there's some huge benefits we talked about. Do you think if there's any challenges that this brings out, or is this really just a win-win?
I think we'd be silly to say there won't be challenges in the future. What those challenges are going to be, I don't really know at the moment. I think it's the opportunity, and that when we made this announcement, we had a partnership. We have a partner channel, and we got all of our partners together for a day or two. We made this announcement to them. And they just got so excited about it. The opportunity, the fact that they can go to their existing, Sage 200 customers or Sage 50 customers who have been saying, I want to move to the cloud, but I can't move my inventory and stock and things like that. And they're saying, hey, I've actually got a solution for you now that might fit what you need it to do. So the buzz around it is just, I'm sure we'd be naive to think there won't be challenges ahead. But I think with the two teams together, knowing what we do, they're experts in what they do, we're experts in what we do. And we've got both rich sets of APIs as well. So it seems like hopefully a match made in heaven.
Cool. And then I guess I'm going to ask a question which you may not know the answer to, but I know Cin7 has 2 products. They've got Cin7 Core and Cin7 Omni. Are you integrating to both or one?
It's Core that we're integrating to, or this is first integration will be to, Core.
Yeah, it makes sense. That's the one with the much wider, like the original
scope, and it's a Deer thing that came through as well. Yeah, so
that makes sense. And I know Omni is a bit more complex, a bit more custom as you kind of expand and get bigger.
That's what I understand. I haven't spent any time with Omni, but I think that is more of a bespoke, more of that high level, complex, really complex stuff. But the Deer stuff is really nice. And
it's very slick. And I think that's the why they've been, not the only reason that Cin7 has been successful. Cin7 original system was really successful, but the merger of Deer and Omni into one brand, I think, helped massively in the growth curve for Cin7.
And I think the knowledge that they've collated between the teams as well has definitely had a knock-on effect in terms of how the products are developing as well.
Definitely. I'm going to now future gaze slightly. So obviously you've got an inventory area and you've now built an integration into a specialized inventory tool. You have a projects area. Do you think that in the future you may integrate into an advanced project management system as well?
I would not put that past us in any way, shape, or form, because again, we do project finance tracking and stuff like that beautifully, really well, great analysis. What we don't do is resource planning that goes with those projects. For example, that sort of how do I plan it? What consultants do we need over
Kanban
here, and
boards
all that?
yeah.
Well, exactly, Gantt charts and everything like that. So, and again, I think that's too far away from a finance systems requirements, because all we want to do is good finance. And I think
Yep.
more of these partnerships, and I think a big change is having Paul become CPO as well. He's got such a rich history and connectivity and connections within the industry as well. And he's got that sort of idea about what sectors we need to, what will complement us better in different ways. And I think that's what we're now at that stage where we're looking for the best things that can complement what our customers are asking us for. And that's really where most of our demand from. The reason why we've chosen Cin7 or gone down this Cin7 route first, I think, is simply the fact that that's where people have been asking us, we need a good stock system, we need a good operation system, we need a bit of manufacturing that works with a finance system that we've outgrown a QuickBooks or a Xero and things like that, or we need to move off of our on-premise things. So
yeah, definitely. And you touch on manufacturing, and that was where I was going to go next. In that Cin7, or originally DS, so Cin7 Core, can handle some very basic manufacturing, but nothing too advanced. So I can also envisage in the future that as you kind of move into that space and trying to support the manufacturing community, that you build another integration to an advanced manufacturing system that kind of moves the needle in that way as well.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, again, as this gets hopefully more successful, then that will just leverage and we've proven it over here, and then more advanced manufacturing that is more complicated, probably harder to do out of the box, but it's still coming to the same effect. I need some financial transactions at the end of the day that happen in your ops system that needs to be pulled into Iplicit. So I can definitely see those on the our future and our horizons as well.
Cool. Well, I know I'm not going to get any commitments out of you, maybe because you just don't know at this stage, but you wouldn't say anyway, too professional guy.
I couldn't. No. I wouldn't say that, but
but something that does this actually now brings to the fore when you're building integrations is someone needs to look at the business holistically and go, okay, how do we currently operate, and what do we need to pivot, and what do we need to change, and should everything be in one system or a combination of systems? And that's where you now, rather than just going, we're lifting and shifting where we are and moving now into a more advanced cloud-based finance system, we kind of have to look broader and think, we got to consider change management. We've got to consider what do we change at what points, because although the integration's there, doesn't mean you need to switch onto both systems at the same time, depending if how you operate in your current system. And that's where, I guess, as I would say, trying to work with a digital transformation specialist that can at least guide you down that path, even if you're doing it internally, I think becomes more critical.
And that, I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's the hardest part of an implementation. I think it is that change management piece, and it's knowing where to start and when to stop. And I say, the biggest risks are when you try and do too much at once, based on the resources that you've got, and that's why sometimes you just need guidance in terms of, and just so I'm saying, you're biting off too much at the moment. Why don't we do this more iteratively and staged and progressive, and that will theoretically go through a lot smoother. Won't have that big sort of big bang approach necessarily, although some organizations need to do it that way because they've got to switch off that system. But especially if you've not done it before as well, or you don't do it regularly, you need to get some advice and get some guidance from someone who has done it before, and someone who can come back and say, you know what, that's a great idea in principle, absolute blooming nightmare in reality. So,
exactly.
Have you considered this?
An alternative. And I think that's where the beauty of your partner network really comes to the fore, because when you're having those conversations with clients or prospects, you can kind of lean on them. Same way you've done that from the integration perspective, and go, look, you're now considering a couple of systems. You may want to talk to a specialist. We can kind of point you in the right direction.
Yeah, and that's it. And the nice thing is we're building such a rich network of partners. Is that we can then go to a prospect because we're not experts in that particular area necessarily, that particular sector. We are experts in finance, but we're not experts in managing your donation management system or your school management system or something like that. So we can then point our customers and put them in touch with people who are experts in those areas, who have done it before, who have got a track record in that, and not just making it up as they go on the spot. And then again through our integration tools and things like that, then we can get the systems talking to each other where they need to and where it's right to do so as well. So
Brilliant. And look, I guess going back now to what we said pretty much at the start is that this is an announcement. You are building it over the summer in the heat, and it will be live hopefully in September. So there'll be some people that probably like, oh, that feels, I want it now. But realistically, for systems such as Iplicit and Cin7, it takes a while to implement these systems. So unless you've got them both in place at this point, really this delay isn't going to negatively affect anyone, because you still need to plan out, you still need to migrate onto the systems before you can
totally. And I think that's why we made the announcement of the partnership last month as well, so that people are aware of it, so that if you are looking, then it is, there's a process that you'll need to go through to select the right inventory system, the right finance system, etc., which isn't going to happen overnight. So we need to get a good understanding of what you need to make sure that we're right fits as well. Because again, both Cin7 and Iplicit is, we're trying to put the customer first, and we only want the right customers, both of us. So, we'd happily say, no, we're not the right finance system for you, if that evolves through that process. So that's going to take time to get to grips with. So if there are people out there who are interested in talking to us, then reach out to the team. So
yeah, I assume this partnership will come with the ability to share that information across both your customer bases, right? Because it only benefits them, like to make them aware that they've got you've got this other system you work collaboratively with, and they may want to explore it. Thanks, guys, so much for coming on and talking this through with us. It's at least provided clarity to me, and hopefully for anyone that's watching it live or watched it in arrears. Is there any last bit of information that I guess you've got, or any call to action that you want to provide?
I suppose it's we're more than happy to talk to people now if they are thinking about going on this journey, whether they're an existing Cin7 customer or they're customer who's stuck on a legacy system. Happy to start that talking to people now, or watch this space for the full launch in September.
Cool. Well, thanks again for coming on, Guy. Thanks everyone
for
joining. Me. If you do want to ensure you catch the episode every week, please tune in at 9 a.m. on a Thursday morning and subscribe to the Digital Disruptors page on either LinkedIn or YouTube, and you'll get a notification reminding you to come on. Hopefully this has provided you insights, and look forward to talking to you next week.